Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Doady Gaming Guide to Energy Fighting. And so today we're going to be talking about how to energy fight and how to energy fight effectively in both arcade, realistic battles, and simulator battles. So first off here we have a little diagram, and step one always has to be, for pretty much when you're fighting anything, is find your target. When you're energy fighting, especially in simulator battles, your vision is definitely going to be a major part, because oftentimes in simulator battles especially, whoever sees the person first has a serious advantage. So that's going to be step one. Step two, you dive on your target. You turn all your potential energy into kinetic energy, and you dive down, gaining as much speed as you possibly can, and you're going to want to open fire on your target. Here you're going to want as many cannons as you can, as much firepower as you can, to really let them have it. And now you're going to use all that speed you built up and turn it into altitude. You're going to want to climb away as fast as you can, as high as you can. So in the case that you miss, they're not going to be able to catch you, they're not going to be able to climb with you, and hopefully they just won't even see where you are. So here's the conclusion. Let's wrap it all up. So you're going to want to dive down, shoot them, let them have it, then climb away. So this is the very basic, ideal way of energy fighting. So now let's take a look into some gameplay where we actually show this in War Thunder. Now here you see we're a Focke-Wulf 190, and this is one of the most ideal energy fighters in War Thunder. Now, as you saw there, what did we do? We had the height advantage, which is exactly what you need when you're energy fighting. We had the height advantage, we dove down, and we turned that height into speed, and we then used that speed to climb away safely. So then we can just repeat this process as many times as we want. As you can see here, we take some good shots at them, and we get some good hits in and end up killing them. Now, when you're energy fighting, what you need to remember is you have to be efficient. So what this means is you can't be rolling around, you can't be doing all kinds of crazy maneuvers. You want your wings to stay as horizontal as possible. So what this means is you have the height, you dive, you shoot, and then you climb away. So that's what you do when you're in an offensive position. Now let's take a look at what you do when you're in a defensive position. So here we have one of the worst cases you can possibly have if you're an energy fighter. There's a plane that can turn faster than you behind your tail, and you're going about the same speed. So if you have the sufficient altitude, which you should most of the time if you're an energy fighter, dive towards the ground. So once you're at this point, you can either run, just keep on running, don't do anything, go low and as fast as you can, and you should be able to outrun pretty much anything. Or if you're trying to be more daring, or offensive, you can just turn your energy right back into speed. And what an energy fighter does that turn fighters can't do is an energy fighter can retain this speed. An energy fighter can stay flying and not stall before a turn fighter can, as we can see here. We're about to stall, but you know that Spitfire is in a much worse situation. So see, the Spitfire stalled, and this is perfect. We're right behind his tail. And at this point, he has no chance. He can dodge, he can do whatever he wants, but we'll eventually get him. So here we are taking some shots, and bam, there goes his wing. So now that we know what to do in an offensive position, energy fighting, and a defensive position, let's break down what you should do with an energy fighter in arcade, realistic, and simulator. And they're actually much more different than you'd expect. So let's take a look at the arcade gameplay. Okay, so here we are in some arcade, and we have a lineup of primarily tier 3 German planes. Now, all of these planes are pretty quick and pack a lot of firepower. So in arcade, when you're an energy fighter, you need firepower, like, as opposed to all else. That's all you need. You need large and a lot of guns. Because in arcade, the flame models are so smoothed out that your only advantage, which was speed and climb rate, have almost been completely negated. I'm not going to say that in a straight line race you're not going to beat a Spitfire if you're in a Focke-Wulf, but the difference is so small that it's relatively impractical to energy fight in arcade. So what you need to do with energy fighters is you need to almost completely rely on your aim and putting yourself in favorable positions. So here we're climbing as high as we can because this is going to be most of the climbing we do for the game. We want to put ourselves in the best position we possibly can before the game even starts. So there's Mr. Jingles down there. Yeah, we're going to kill him. So at this point we have to pick who are we going to go after. Are we going to go after a biplane, which I'm sure is around here somewhere, or are we going to go after a yak? But Mr. Jingles is a little too tempting and he has to die. So right here we get some good shots, and there goes his wing. Goodbye, Mr. Jingles. So there was a little bit of lag there. I don't know what happened there. So here we're just going to come around, do a good loop, come down on him, and hopefully if he doesn't die before we get to him, we can put some good shots in him, lead him, get some good hits in, and boom, he's on fire and he's down for the count. Yak 3, got some good hits into him, and not enough. And yeah, pretty much every video I'm going to probably shoot someone on the ground because that's how I roll. And we won't say no to that now, will we? Now here, I was going to turn with that BF-109, but that was probably not the best idea in a plane with a turn time as poor as this. So here we can get right behind the Mustang, and boom, almost killed that B-17 on the ground, killed any survivors of the crash, but it's a risk we're willing to take. So here we want to get away from the fight. There's quite a large wave of people. And here, with energy fighters, I forgot to mention, head-ons are your friend. If you have a lot of cannons with a decent fire rate, go head-on. Because chances are people are scared of you. People are generally, if they're not going to ram you, they're scared to go head-on, generally, in most cases. And there are planes like the King Cobra who have a big cannon and have a decent amount of firepower. They're completely impractical for going head-on because of the lack of the rate of fire. And here I was low energy, low speed, and Mr. Jingles got his revenge. But hopefully me or Trilogy X will get him back for that, right? So at this point I have another Focke-Wulf, and it's the same plane with what, 2 less cannons. So we're gonna be fine. We're gonna make it. And here, leading the team, little annoying Trilogy X was ahead, but not for long. We'll take him down. So as I said before, you're gonna want to climb. And with energy fighters, you're going, and with just in arcade in general, stealth attack is your best friend. If you don't have stealth attack, it's like you can't hit anything. Bullets are flying everywhere. There's like laser beams. It's just the bullets are traveling like walking speed. They're like power walkers. But when you have stealth attack, they're invisible lasers. They're there. So you need stealth attack because the bullets actually move at a reasonable speed, and people don't immediately see your lightsabers flying at them. So here we have a lot of targets to choose from. So it's going to go after that guy on the ground because you know how I like to kill people on the ground. So we get that guy, boom, get him, and that guy he wanted to die. He ran right into my bullets, which I'll take. I like that. So here is on fire. That would have been an easy kill, but you know, he died too early. So when you have nothing to do in arcade, you're an energy fighter, just climb. Don't try to, I don't know, just try to climb. You need the altitude. That guy, yeah, rammers, frowned upon, but we could have taken him out if we were head on, because we have the cannons. So here, Trilogy X, he's got a P-51 on his tail, and you'd think a P-51, it came out a couple years after, it'd be a little better, but in arcade the flight models are so smoothed out. This guy's practically floating in midair, so we should be able to hit him. I really make a mess of this. I don't know how it takes me like half an hour to shoot him down, but whatever. We still got the kill, which is important. And this guy about to land. He's a pretty big threat. So yeah, I guess he wasn't that big a threat, but it was still worth the effort, right? So here at this point we have a lot of targets to choose from, but he's close and got some good shots into him. So that's great. Thunderball. See, this is what I'm saying about going head on. Most people are scared of it. That I-16 wasn't, but let's see. He was scared of it. This Yak is probably scared, and yep, he's running. So the thing is, the negatives for you are relatively minimal. Like, what's the issue? Worst case scenario, they ram you, but you get a lot of shots into them. So I don't even know if they could ram you, because you have the firepower. You can hopefully kill them before. And in cases like that, they're too scared to go head on, so you get a lot of shots into him, and it just works out great. So I'm very pro going head on in an energy fighter if you have a lot of firepower. Now the BF-109 G2 is still good because you have stealth attack. I didn't realize that the BF-109 F4, it used to, like, before a couple patches ago, I don't remember which patch, they put the 50mm cannons on the side of the BF-109 F4. But once they did that and they took away the stealth attack for the F4 was just killed. It's dead to me. It's useless because there's no stealth attack. I find it extremely difficult to aim with stealth attack. But in terms of a plane, it's very good. You know, it can turn relatively decently. It's pretty quick and has a decent climb rate. I'm not going to say great, but you know, it gets the job done. But here, the stealth attack, we use our invisible laser beams, and good night. And that's, I feel like with arcade, it's such a scrum that with a turn fighter, you can hope to survive because you can hope to outturn everything. But with an energy fighter, you don't have the advantage of turning. Now, in realistic, it's the complete opposite. Turn fighters are there to get brutally mauled and eaten by whales and just destroyed. But that's what it's like for energy fighters in arcade. They're at a relative disadvantage because the flight model's so smoothed out. So you have to rely on your aim and your firepower in arcade. So here we are, topping off the team, 13 kills. It was an okay game. It could have been better, but it's difficult to get those 20 kill games and those 25 kill games. Not because, you know, the main reason is because the game will just end, because how often you get the opportunity to shoot down 25 planes, 20 planes, or you run out of planes. So the game just will end, or you have to have one of those maps where it's a ground attack map, because those are the only games that'll drag on long enough. So, and plus when you have Trilogy X getting like 11 kills, 12 kills, that's annoying. Maybe I should stop bringing him. Stealing my kills. Look at my kill one. He's going down. And oh my goodness, look at those shots. When they're not stealth attack, it's so challenging. It's so challenging to hit things with. So that was the arcade gameplay, and how did we do? Did pretty well, 13 kills, decent amount of XP. Don't know what these medals are, but got a lot of them. So that was a pretty good game, and now let's shift over to some realistic where we'll actually see the energy fighting tactics that I showed you before actually implemented. So let's switch over to that. So here we are in realistic, and right off the bat, Trilogy X doesn't see this P63 and he dies immediately. So nice kill, Trilogy X, thanks for all your help. And now we have to worry about saving ourselves. So before I say any more, the Hellcat is one of the most classic energy fighters currently in War Thunder. It is pretty much a bus that can climb relatively decently and can dive very well and has some pretty decent straight line speed. So right now we're not going to be able to climb with a P63 that has more energy than us. We're not going to be able to turn with it either. So what do we have to do? We just have to dive and hope that he doesn't care about us anymore, because he would pick on a poor pathetic little Hellcat. But now we're going to take out this IL-2 because he's right in our line of fire, and why not? Right? So we're just got to make sure that the P63 isn't diving with us. He couldn't keep up, but I mean, as you can see here, he's gaining on us, but he's not gonna catch us. That's not gonna continue. So here the IL-2 is running, and this is a pretty easy shot. If I mess this up, then that would be embarrassing. But am I gonna mess it up? I don't think so. But boom, he's gone. So there's the P63. He decided to maintain his height advantage, and I just tried to get as much height as I can because I realized his target is not me anymore. So we did exactly what we needed to do to get away from that P63. We dove towards the ground, and he decided to go after a much juicier target in the P51. So at this point, I don't know if I have the energy advantage because he has quite a decent amount of speed build up, but it's certainly much better than we were at 4 kilometers up, 4 or 5 kilometers up, probably. So he's regained his height, but we have our speed, and we're actually catching him now. So we're in great shape. The thing with this matchup is that the P63 is a quite an odd plane. I think that plane is, I personally think it's the best in the game, but it just has a decent amount of everything. So see, he's not going to want to go head on with that big 37mm. He doesn't have the rate of fire or the accuracy to be able to effectively go head on. So here he decided to just keep on course and run away, but we have the height advantage again. So at this point, our goal is just to run him out of energy, just to run him out of speed and height and everything. And at a certain point, we'll be able to just come on in and wipe him out. Just get some, because it only takes one good pass to take him out. So if you're diving and missing and diving and missing, which I do quite a lot, I do that quite a lot, yeah. And you'll see it. You'll eventually get him. Either you or a friend or somebody will get him, because you can't turn fight and dodge these forever unless you're Rick Toffin or you're Werner Voss or one of these great aces. So here he's diving, and he's pretty much, I don't know if he has yet, but he's pretty much lost all the energy advantage that he had at some point. So here we can just stay vertical, want to keep our wings horizontal to the ground, and we can do this all day. See, he wants to come head on. I don't think so. Now, in this case, you want to make sure you don't kill your own guy, obviously, but we can just keep doing this. We can just come around. Maybe we'll just slide in right behind him. And perfect. We come right behind him, doing a lot of missing, and we got some good hits in there. We have the height, come back around, and he lost the will to go on. Now here's an I-16 that he shouldn't be able to compete. And this pilot was pretty good. He managed to stay alive for quite a while, but an I-16 against a Hellcat and a King Cobra should never be in a fight. So here we are, just keeping our energy advantage. We can always, if you don't have the energy advantage, you should always fight to regain the energy advantage. You need to make sure that he turns and loses as much energy as possible, or you stay as energy efficient as you possibly can. So here we want to get some distance, get some speed up, come back around. Because at this point he's completely lost all the energy that he had. It's just a countdown. Either me or King Dingaling is gonna get him. So I'm getting right in here behind him, getting some good hits, and we're killing all the wildlife in those trees, but there's a Russian over there that we gotta get. And see, at this point I can just climb away. He can't keep up with me. And I don't know if King Dingaling actually hit him, but he should have hit him. We can just come back around, turn that height into speed. At this point I believe he's chasing the King Cobra. So we have the speed advantage. And we shouldn't follow that. That's the urge you have to fight when you're an energy fighter. You cannot be sucked into these turn fights in planes that are buses. You just can't, or then you lose your energy, and it's a low altitude turn fight, and which is the worst case scenario for a turn fighter. I mean an energy fighter, excuse me. So I'm not saying there aren't planes that can energy fight and turn fight. I'm not even saying that you can turn fight to try to reduce a plane's energy just for one turn, but when you're in a plane like the Hellcat, that's such a bus, you can't afford to turn at all. So let's cut to a little bit. There's a lot of boring in this game, so let's cut to a little bit more action at the end of this game. So here I am, kind of being a moron, and I know you don't get points when you land on the enemy base, but I still thought it would have been fun since there are like two guys on that I thought were on the other side of the planet, but then this happens. An energy fighter's worst nightmare. I have 0 speed, I have 0 altitude, and there are things that can turn better than me that have more energy. So here, this is a nightmare. This is what do you do with a plane that can't turn, has no speed, and we're almost out of ammo. At this point, you just gotta run for your life. You're gonna be dodging, but you're gonna stay low to the ground, and you're gonna try to gain as much speed as possible. Here, you're just gonna worm it, make sure you don't get hit. See, I don't know, he's gotten a couple hits, but he's got nothing important. Here, we just get a few hits in. I don't think that did anything, but if you can see on the bottom, King Dingaling got the other yak. So he saved me there. He saved my life. So now this yak is on the defensive. He's got to worry about King Dingaling, and he's got to worry about me. So at this point, I realize I'm not the primary threat here. He doesn't really care what I'm doing, so I can just line him up here. Now we've kind of regained the energy, not advantage, but we're on par with him in energy. As you can see there at the top left, we're almost out of ammo. And see, now we got him in a great position, and boom, we got him. So we were saved by King Dingaling there. We got to thank him for that, but that's essentially what you have to do when you're an energy fighter in an awful position like that. You got to just dive, you got to worm it, and you got to hope for the best. So It wasn't the best game in the world, but I think that showed a lot of the key elements of energy fighting and the defensive aspects and definitely the offensive aspects. Now let's cut over to some simulator battle gameplay. So here we are in some simulator battle. Taking out the Yak 3P, I believe, against the Japanese, and right now I'm mowing down some grass, but that's okay. It's a little out of control. But so this is the Russians versus the Japanese, and I personally think that is by far the most difficult combo, because the Japanese generally have good climb rates. They're, of course, the most maneuverable by far, but they're not the quickest and they can't dive. But the Japanese will stay so low that diving isn't really an issue. So, you know, it's just kind of not beneficial towards the Russians, because the Russians can outturn the Germans. They're very well matched up against the Germans and the Americans. You know, they can turn decently, they're decently fast, and they can climb okay. But against the Japanese, I feel like the Japanese are like they're the anti-Russians. They just kick their butts. So I personally found this matchup very hard. And on top of me mowing down grass and not being very good at simulator battles, it's not a good combo. So right now I'm just trying to gain as much energy as possible by climbing. Want to get as high as we can to spot those awful Japanese planes. I don't like them one bit. But just kind of, because the Japanese they're not going to want to climb. As you get later in the progression line, you're going to definitely want to climb. It's going to get much more important because everyone climbs. Especially because as you get later into the progression tree, you have the Dora, you have the Mustang, you have Lavochkins, even Spitfires. They're not slow. They're not the quickest, but they can climb pretty well. So pretty much everything is going for that climb higher, go faster. So it becomes even more important to climb well. But in this case, you're just going to want to climb and spot the Japanese down very low, because you know they're not high. Now right here I see quite a few scuffles going on. I don't know if I actually spot it, but there are a few scuffles going on up there, and we can definitely do some damage there. We got those cannons that'll wreck them, and that's just, you don't need firepower against the Japanese. You can just click what you need, like 30 calibers. You can use a pea shooter, you can use a spitball, throw rocks, marshmallows, they'll explode. So the 3 cannons here on the Yak 3P are a bit of overkill. So here we just want to keep these guys we're looking at in the corner of our eye. Look for the flak. That's definitely I think that's the easiest indicator to spot someone. But our best friend in this game is going to be staying low and going towards our own line, staying low and staying fast, because we're not going to really want, I doubt we can outclimb the Japanese. They can climb pretty well. So here's a guy up there, and there's 2 guys over here. So at this point we got some decision making to do. We have a lot of decision making. Now these guys, they're very convenient. I think one of them is red, so it's safe to assume that one of them are our friends. But here I think I decided, yeah, they're definitely not enemy, because one's red and the other's flying next to him, so he's not an enemy. So we can just dive down on him, and he's also friendly. The great thing about Yak 3Ps is that it's also kind of a curse. You can spot them from a mile away. They're these giant red things. That doesn't seem like effective camo, but here we actually spot a Japanese fellow, and it looks like an A6M5, I believe. So here we're just going to climb away, loop around, keep our eyes on him, And we're going to come right back around. So, here, this is where being an energy fighter gets a little more challenging. You have to be able to hit things, which is, this is one of the first times I've done simulator battles since they've decided that your head moves all over the place and your head's like out the window when you turn. So, you know, I'm lining them up and I'm slamming my head on the window, and I find it pretty tough to aim. So in combination with me not being able to aim, that's pretty tough, for me at least. So, but here we can just come back around, get another shot on him, miss by like 42 miles, and we can just do this all day, which I pretty much end up doing. So we can just keep our eyes on him, come back around. Where'd he go? He's somewhere. He didn't go far, we know that for sure. He's around here somewhere. Just keep coming around, and oh, there's the flak. Look for the flak. And there he is. And yeah, we're definitely not hitting him there, but that didn't stop me from shooting. They're coming around. This is the thing with an energy fighter. You can do this all day. All day. But you have to be patient enough to do this all day. Because unless you're, you know, someone who has a great shot, which I'm sure most of us don't, it is challenging to hit things. My personal playstyle is I get in really close, turn with a, you know, a close knife fight, and I have to get like 2 feet away. I'm practically ramming him. And here, I don't even know. I hit him, but he decided not to explode. I probably like nicked his wing or did something not very important. So here, this is more a Yak specific thing. We can turn with him for a small amount of time. I'm just trying to run out his energy. But here's the beautiful thing, we can just run away. Just run away. And he has less energy, but we also have less energy, but we can regain our energy much more easily. So here, I think I lose him. Why couldn't they keep that white camouflage? I would really appreciate that right now. And the flak shooting at something, but I don't see anything. I'm assuming he's over here somewhere. But there's a Yak with us, and I don't see anything. And here I see something. I'm hoping that's him. It could have been him, but what you're about to see is nothing short of a miracle. I don't know how it happened. If you can see on the left, there's shots going on. There's stuff, and boom, on fire. And he's going down. I don't know how it happened either. It just sort of, I aimed down and he exploded. So it just takes one lucky hit and he's down. So that was pretty good. Now we gotta worry about the other fighters, because we know there's other people around. And there's this guy here. I don't know if I actually spot him, but going up here is definitely not the smartest move. And yeah, he bangs up my tail. So at this point, I'm stalling, I'm a flipping, flopping, and heads out the window, and we just gotta run. We just gotta find our own lines. And at this point, my tail is banged up. I'm going up, I'm going down, I'm going up, I'm going down. So I just gotta run, because I can't turn with him. I don't really want to climb with him. It's too low altitude to dive, so we just gotta run. And he can't catch us. We're strong and we are Soviet, so we can go real far. And he's not going to be able to catch us. So we can just run for the hills. That's the beauty of an energy fighter. You can just, if you don't want to fight, just run. Just go away. No one can catch you. This map, this matchup, I don't think there's any plane in the whole entire matchup that's going to be able to catch you. So that's about it. So thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.